Hello, Ryan. I hope that it's going well for you today. This is coming to you late Saturday night. I always said that I would try to get these to you earlier, but, well, I just got done working 8 days straight. Yeah, 8 days straight. And then I got some sad news earlier today. And yeah, it was just one of those days. So the timing wasn't right. And then later on, the timing was right. So here we are. Today we're going to be looking at a lyric. We're going back to lyrics. But first, we need to respond to the story that you shared last week, which was the story of the farmer and his horse. The farmer, gotta look at my notes here. The farmer was engaging in a form of detachment, a detachment method to avoid suffering. And I know a pastor who once said the point of the church, the purpose of the church, is to alleviate suffering. And his detachment was, everybody else was telling him, you have good things. And he says, maybe. And then they say, oh, that was terrible. And he says, maybe. And so that is the he was exhibiting the attachment method to avoid suffering, was to just say, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, maybe. But the church, to alleviate suffering, I just don't know about that, because I feel like the tragedy of our lives is suffering. That's the world that we live in. A fallen, broken world is suffering. Everybody suffers. Some people more seemingly than others, but everybody suffers. And this detachment form, where it's almost like Buddhist, where it's like, oh, if I just rid myself of detachment, then I won't suffer. So if I don't have any connection to my family, if I'm detached from my family, if I'm detached from my pets, if I'm detached from my things, my belongings, my life's work, then there can be no suffering, because I just don't care, because I'm not attached to it anyway. And there's some goodness to that, in that we need to realize that this life is so temporary, this physical world is temporary, and it can all be taken from us at any point. But detachment to avoid suffering discredits God's creativity, God's creation, because the whole purpose behind our creation is to glorify Him through relationship, which is attachment. So to detach just to avoid suffering is selfish. Detachment says that there is no good and no evil. It looks at a glass of water. It's not half full, it's not half empty, it's just a glass of water. But the tragic optimism that Viktor Frankl speaks about is, thank goodness I have water when I could have none. I could be thirsty and not have anything to drink, but I have some water. So the point of the church, I think it is to help people. I really do. I think that the point of the church is to help people. But we also need to help people see how their suffering has helped them. Help them see what suffering is all about. And I know I have great relatives who suffered greatly. They were in great physical pain, but they, my grandpa, I remember he was in a hospital for a long time towards the end of his life, and he couldn't really open his eyes because the cancer in his face was so bad. But as we were singing songs on Christmas morning, he says, I'm just sad because I can't help anybody anymore. I was like, man, this is a great man who is suffering, but he regrets not being able to help people. And that to me was just truly amazing. So you asked for some of my thoughts, and that's what I wanted to say. The line from Viktor Frankl, according to logotherapy, we can discover, this is Man's Search for Meaning, the book that helped me launch the Modern Quest. According to logotherapy, we can discover this meaning in life in 3 different ways. By creating a work or doing a deed. That's your life's work, that's your life's task, that's your creativity, your career, the way that you raise children even can be seen as a life's task. 2, by experiencing something or encountering someone. That's your relationships. That's your love, that's your marriage, that's your also it could be your relationship with your kids, your family, things like that. And then 3, by the attitude we take toward unavoidable suffering. We must never forget that we may also find meaning in life even when confronted with a hopeless situation, when facing a fate that cannot be changed. For what then matters is to bear witness to the uniquely human potential at its best, which is to transform a personal tragedy into a triumph, to turn one's predicament into a human achievement. When we are no longer able to change a situation, just to think of an incurable disease as an inoperable cancer, we are challenged to change ourselves. And I think of Christ's suffering with all that, is that he suffered greatly. And yeah, so the farmer had his ways to avoid suffering, but at the same time, maybe we appoint moral value to amoral things, like horses getting there, or even a broken bone. Is that necessarily evil? Is that bad? Is that a bad thing? Well, it ruins the potential for my son, but is that a morally bad thing? Maybe. So, anyway, my lyric, I'll just move on to my stuff now. My lyric is from a psalm. Did you know that I wrote a song? Well, I didn't really write it. I found the lyrics in the Bible, and then I came up with the tune. So, and then it was arranged by the song leader at our church at the time, Bobby Bloom, and he actually helped me file for copyright the song. I think that we still have the official copyright letter and a copy of the song sheet music in our files somewhere. I'll have to check. Maybe I could scan them over to you. So it's based on Psalm 134. And I remember thinking, realized when I first found this psalm, it was in my King James Bible as a kid, because I was like in 6th grade, I believe, at the time. That's when I found this psalm in the King James Bible, but it wasn't in that wording was not right in the NIV, but it is there in New King James, which is the translation that I have in front of me. So, I'll read it. Behold, bless the Lord, all you servants of the Lord, who by night stand in the house of the Lord. Lift up your hands in the sanctuary, and bless the Lord. The Lord who made heaven and earth, bless you from Zion. Yeah, those words aren't quite there, but hey, they work. Behold, bless the Lord, all you servants of the Lord, who by night stand in the house of the Lord. Lift up your hands in the sanctuary, and bless the Lord. The Lord who made heaven and earth, bless you from Zion. And the reason that I wanted to share this is, I was prepared to share a story this week. Have you ever heard of the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Oh, I'm just kidding. I did have a story in mind, and then I realized that you had just shared one, so that wouldn't make sense. So I was thinking of a lyric, and I was like, it was like 30 minutes ago that I was like, I need to figure this out, and I was like, I wrote a song. I can share a song that I wrote. I'll give you, if I have it, I can find the sheet music and send that to you, and you can figure out the tune, because I will not sing it. It's a difficult key, if I remember correctly. But anyway, I like those lyrics because it tells you, serve the Lord, praise the Lord, and you who acknowledge that He is the Lord of all, He is the Lord of Zion, serve Him always. Serve Him through the night. Through the night you are standing in the presence of the Lord. Continue doing it. And there's something about that that's like, hey, you're doing great. You are serving the Lord and you are fearing the Lord. Keep doing it. Keep your hands up. Be a sign for other people. And that, I think, is amazing. So that's all I have for now. See you next time on Speeches and Stories, Lyrics and Letters.